Welcome to the Concrete Briefing. I am your host, Carter Concrete. Today, we are stepping into the intersection of urban legend and documented reality. We are conducting a high-stakes investigation into a narrative that has captivated the culture, the infamous two-piece Biscuit saga involving the Bronx, its own legendary figure, Fat Joe. Is this a definitive street classic, or is it a masterclass in cinematic screenplay? Today, we don't just tell the story, we deconstruct it frame by frame, analyzing the linguistic roots, the cultural history, and the psychological arguments that sustain the legend of Joey Croc. Buckle up, because this is a journalistic thriller grounded in the search for the truth. Our narrative begins not on the streets, but in the high-voltage atmosphere of a podcast studio. Fat Joe is seated alongside hip-hop royalty, Jadakiss, Uncle Murda, and Tony Yeo, men whose reputations for authenticity are undisputed. The energy shifts the moment the name Pistol Pete is mentioned. Pete is a figure of mythical proportions, known for raw street energy and survivalist grit in the most dangerous environments. As Murda and Yeo offer Pete his flowers, a psychological shift occurs within Fat Joe. In the competitive landscape of hip-hop, being a mere civilian listener to tales of toughness is not an option for someone of Joe's stature. He must assert his dominance. He leans in with a line that serves as a significant journalistic red flag. I'm gonna give away all some breaking news I never told nobody before. At this exact moment, the CGI budget of his narrative begins to skyrocket, transitioning from a casual conversation into a high-stakes action drama. The setting shifts to Chicago during a winter jam. The air is biting. The wind is a character itself. Joe describes a scene where he has just finished a high-energy performance. He exits the venue with his crew, not the polished faces of a music video, but what he characterizes as the ugly ones, individuals he claims look like they eat bricks for breakfast. Suddenly, the tension spikes. From a balcony, a voice rings out, "Yo, crack. Yo, crack." It is Young Buck. This encounter takes place at the height of the volatile G-Unit and Fat Joe rivalry. Joe claims he did not hesitate. He describes a sequence of events involving a water bottle projectile and a direct challenge for Buck to descend and face him. Joe describes blacking out, standing at the base of the stairs like a final boss in Street Fighter. He presents an argument of singular bravery, suggesting he was solo doxing an entire rival crew in a hostile environment. To understand the validity of this story, we must examine the linguistic roots of the Bronx tale. In the cultural history of the Bronx, storytelling is not merely a transmission of facts. It is an exercise in theatricality. Joe's narrative is built on what we call the superhuman myth. He argues that his aura is so immense that even the presence of 5 police officers could not dampen his martial prowess. He claims that when Buck appeared, he and his ugly ones activated what can only be described as Naruto-level ninjutsu, delivering an 8-hit kit combo in 1 second, the infamous two-piece biscuit. The root of this argument is exaggeration for status. In urban culture, stats are often inflated to match status. The argument Joe makes is that he is so intimidating that his rival, a known tough guy, folded instantly, allegedly pleading for friendship. This creates a narrative where Joe is the undisputed victor of every encounter. However, a professional journalistic inquiry requires a rebuttal. Enter DJ Don Juan, Young Buck's official DJ from 2006 to 2008, who was physically present during the incident. Don Juan's argument is grounded in logistics and reality, countering Joe's cinematic flair. Don Juan asserts that Joe's account is percentage-wise cap. He argues that Joe did not stand like a lone warrior. Instead, he claims Joe was surrounded by 4 police officers for protection the entire night, specifically because the G-Unit tension was so high. The thriller takes a turn here. Don Juan describes Young Buck barking from the top tier, while Joe, shielded by law enforcement, attempted to de-escalate the situation. According to the DJ, when Buck charged down the corridor, there were no biscuits served, only a rapid retreat to the tour bus. Why does a legend like Fat Joe feel the need to apply extra sauce to his history. We must analyze the psychological influences on his personality. The victor complex. Joe appears addicted to the narrative of winning. We see a pattern here, such as the Papoose incident, where Joe's claims of dominance were directly contradicted by other witnesses, like Cassidy. Legend maintenance. To maintain mogul status, one must keep their G card pristine. In the presence of stories about figures like Pistol Pete, Joe feels a competitive need to reassert his own legendary status. Linguistic extras. In the cultural context of urban storytelling, putting extras on it is a method of ensuring the story remains entertaining for the audience. Joe is not just a historian. He is a performer. As we analyze these conflicting arguments, we must look at what is most realistic. The argument for Joe's story being, Cap is objectively stronger because it aligns with the protocol of celebrity security. Police do not simply spawn at the start of a fight. They are typically there to guard high-profile figures. Joe's two-piece biscuit serves as a classic illustration of Bronx Bravado, a cocktail of 20% truth and 80% Hollywood magic. While the tension and the police presence were factual, the 8-hit combo belongs strictly to the realm of fighting games and action cinema. That is the breakdown. We have explored the story, analyzed the arguments, and looked deep into the cultural roots of the Doan persona. Fat Joe remains a legend, but his fight choreography might be better suited for the big screen than the history books. Are you siding with the Doan of the Bronx and his 19th Gale combo? Or are you standing with DJ, Don Juan, and the Great Escape to the tour bus? Drop your arguments in the comments below. Let's keep the conversation gritty, real, and always grounded in the truth. I am Carter Concrete, and this has been the Concrete Briefing.